In business news, in its continued efforts to curb financial malpractices in the banking sector, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation has organized the capacity workshop to upskill the knowledge of relevant stakeholders in the law enforcement agencies. This year's workshop is focused on building effective investigation and prosecuting of bank malpractices that may have led to the failure of some financial institutions in the country. TVC News business correspondent Blessed Omonose has details in this report.
Cyber fraud and financial malpractices has over the years been a threat to the growth of the banking sector globally. According to the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, the Nigerian banking sector lost more than 5 billion naira as a result of fraud between January and September 2020. In its continued effort to protect depositors' funds as well as mitigate the banking sector from liquidation, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) has put together a workshop for law enforcement agencies to build the capacity of relevant stakeholders in the investigation and prosecution of parties who may have contributed to the collapse of the banking institutions insured by the corporation.
Acting for the failed bank are appropriately investigated.
In a welcome address, the NDIC's Executive Director, Corporate Services, Mrs. Omotola Abiola Edewo, who was represented by the Director, Special Insured Institutions, Mr. Joshua Etopidok, says there is need for more collaboration amongst law enforcement agencies in the country to eliminate financial malpractices that remain a threat to the safety and stability of the banking system.
Banking everywhere in the world is a complex business. They get involved in complex transactions. So it's only reasonable that those that will be calling to do investigation, those that will be calling to prosecute those that have committed one malpractice or the other are empowered by way of knowledge and skills. Have a more informed investigators, a more informed prosecuting officers, a more informed external auditors, a more informed stakeholders in this business of banking, so that the risks emerging will be mitigated somehow. You cannot completely eliminate risks, but what we talk about, what we do here, is to achieve a reasonable level of risk mitigation.
For the Legal Director, NDIC, Mr. Belema Taribo, the workshop is imperative to equip law enforcement agents with up-to-date information on how to effectively investigate financial crimes and successfully prosecute cyber criminals.
NDIC deposit insurer who guarantees these deposits to banks, part of our responsibility statutorily in law is that we must ensure that those who actually cause this failure are brought to account so that we can reduce the incidence of failures. And we don't do it alone. We need to work with law enforcement agencies. And that is why you have the Special Fraud Unit here, you have the EFCC, you have the Financial Malpractices Investigation Unit, which is a special unit of the police that is charged with this area of investigation. So that is the objective, to develop capacity in this particular area so that we'll be able to carry out our mandate.
There is no doubt that the banking sector is the gateway of any economy, and as such, a workshop of this nature will go a long way to contribute to the stability of the financial system of the country. Blessed Omonose, TVC News, Lagos.